Yo! Pelicans, bandana P, we ticker taping. We in the streets eating horse shit, tipping over dumpsters. Seth Gecko, aka Moody Motherfucking Hate, Whiskey Sick Podcast, episode number 156, all up in your ass. Hit him with that theme music.
Awfully wet for all that dry hate, looking my way while your eyes say you and I may get off like a right lane, but I might strain, pull up lane with a migraine.
What the fuck is up, homies? We rolling. Oh, I gotta get this in camera. Let me lift this up just a tatty bit. Okay, daddy, little tatty bit. We got the Pellies. We rocking the Pellies today. You know what time it is, motherfuckers. You know what goddamn time it is. I've been telling you all year. I've been telling you for years. I told you this was gonna happen. I might have lost a little bit of faith when we were 3-16, 1-12, and then 3-16. But the Pellies fought back. I told you they were gonna make the playoffs. I also told you that they were gonna be in the conference finals this year. Still in play, motherfuckers. It's still in play. I told you that the Bakers weren't going to make the playoffs. I said that for the last 3 years, but I was finally right this year, so that's all that matters. Massive game last night against the Spurs, the play-in game. Win or go home. Win or go home. This is on some NCAA tournament. Yo, calm down over there. Leave that alone. NCAA tournament style, win or go home. I'm kind of digging this. I thought it was kind of the play-in tournament. I thought it was kind of whack to have 10 teams. I mean, there's only 14. There's like 14 teams, 15 teams in each conference. So like all but 5 teams make it. So it really sucks when you're not when you're one of the whack-ass 5 teams that didn't make it, like the Pelicans were last year, like the Bakers are this year. So it felt good to get in there. Honestly, I needed this win, man. I deserve this win. Pelicans fans deserve this win. But me more than anything, you know, this is my win because every fucking thing I root for turns to shit. Everything. Every team. Any random game, you can pick it on TV, be in a bar, Applebee's enjoying happy hour. They turn a game on. I say, I'll root for this team. That team's going to lose. You're fucked. If it's your team, you're fucked. If Seth Gecko picks you, you're fucked. It's over. It's the kiss of death. Finally, something went my way. Honestly, I said, just let me win this fucking game. Let me win this play-in game so we're not one and done. Big for the city. Make this huge comeback, you know, from, like I just said, 3-16 at one point to finishing over 500 from that point. 33-30, I think they were. To get in a home play-in game, win the game. Got ugly down the stretch. Look, I thought we were going to just stomp them out in that third quarter. We had everything rolling. We were up at like 22 at some point, and then, you know, the Spurs are the Spurs, man. They got a cool young little team. I forget the homie with the name starts with a V. I haven't seen much of the Spurs. That was like my first real look at the Spurs, and they have some good young players, man. Those dudes didn't give up. You saw the game before that. You saw the Hornets. Those motherfuckers gave up. They got their asses ate. They got the cheeks clapped. They got they got standing old cheeks clapped. That's what they got. They got escorted out that bitch. I think all the home teams won in these first 4 games. Pellies rolled up in the blender. Smoothie King. All up in the blender. Fucking showed out. The fans showed out. You know, ever since Kendrick Perkins said, you know, NOLA isn't a basketball town. And I wouldn't know because I've never been there. I've driven through Louisiana like twice in my whole life. So I've never been to New Orleans. I will be there one day, definitely for a Pelicans game. So I'm an out-of-state fan. But they said, you know, ever since Kendrick Perkins said that shit about not being a basketball, you know, franchise, they turned the season around. You know, I think that was at the tail end of like a 4-game losing streak when he said that. We had 2 4-game losing streaks in the second half of the season. And then we had a couple 4-game winning streaks. So, ever since that point, though, the Pelicans have been on a roll. You know, they don't even have to gel. You know, CJ hasn't been there that long. You know, he's starting to learn how to play with Brandon Ingram. You see him, you know, having CJ McCollum, when you bring Brandon Ingram out, you can leave one of your scorers on the court at all times. It's what they used to do with AD and Boogie. You could bring AD out to start that second quarter, and you let Boogie run with that second team, and you got a scorer in there at all times. So it's having CJ in there as soon, BI. It was a game of like, different players taking over. You had BI early, then you had CJ in that second quarter. Or that's, as BI went out, CJ then took over, then BI came in again, and then you had Valanciunas at one point late in the game in like the third quarter, early fourth quarter, have a stretch where he scored like 8 points in a row, 9 points in a row, and he started taking over. And then it was BI again, then it was CJ. I mean, it was dope. You had Jose Alvarado, Grand Theft Alvarado out there. Huge threes, came in and hit some big threes. I mean, he was 3 for 4, I think, but 12 points, big points, assists, had some steals. He's those energy plays, man. But the real, if you don't know shit about the Pelicans, and you want to know about a true G, Herbert Jones, you saw as soon as this dude came in the game, everything changed. I mean, this dude is locked down. He's the Deion Sanders of the motherfucking NBA. He's a lockdown, shut down corner. He's locking off whoever he's guarding. That youngster. God damn it! I'm sorry. I'm forgetting all the Spurs names. I forget homie's name, but Herb came in there. He put the lockdown. He's blocking almost every shot. He gets up there. He's so long. He's deceptively long. He gets his hands up there. He's deflecting shots all over. Steals. Him and Jose Alvarado getting steals, leading the breaks. I mean, this dude Herb Jones. If he's not first team all defense as a rookie, I think they got him like second team. I think they're voting. You're sleeping on this dude. I know there's some good defensive players. This dude is the truth. This is like the glove part 2. I mean, this motherfucker, Gary Payton was one of those fingerless workout gloves compared to this motherfucker. This dude's like a fucking steel gauntlet glove. This dude's legit. You had all these dudes. You didn't even get to really see Trey Murphy go off. He had kind of a quiet night, but Trey Murphy's another dude. He had some big defensive plays too. They just shut down. They locked down, in that third quarter and late in that second quarter. That really was the difference in the game because the Spurs made a massive comeback. They got within like 6 late. I think it was 97-91. You know how it was. I was like, fuck, man. And then B.I. made a couple buckets. And we held them off, man. And then Alvarado was getting in there, dishing low, and Valanciunas put a couple buckets, couple slams down, and it was a wrap. It was a wrap, man. This team, I'm telling you, you don't know about the Pelicans. This is, I think, the funnest team to watch. Not just because it's my squad. I don't get to watch them that much. I have to sit there and stream them and all this shit. I watch more of other games than I do of the Pelicans games now. There was a stretch where I watched, most of the games. Now I probably watched maybe in their entirety this year, probably about maybe a little less than half of their games, probably around half of their games, somewhere around there. But solid fucking team effort. I mean, literally. I mean, this team is fucking fun. I was telling you, don't add Zion yet. Wait, just bring him in next year. Bring him in next year. You don't want to mess with this. You don't want to mess with this right now because you see sometimes. The issue with them is sometimes when you have BI and CJ, it's like one of them, they got to decide which one's going to take over and run the offense right there and get their looks and stuff like that. So they kind of still not really, they're still filling each other out and how to get each other working off of each other. If you brought in now, Zion, it's a completely different type. You're going to slow the ball down, kicking it down low, or he's going to take it outside. He likes to take people off the dribble. So you're isolating another dude. You have 2 guys right now in CJ and BI who can isolate. Adding a third, we got to work that in. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. When we get Zion next year and he plays, from the get-go, that's going to be a big deal because they're going to have all summer to get that shit together. Clippers. I like the Pelicans. We played the Clippers tough. I'd like to. I know we beat them a couple times. I don't know what the season series was, but I love this matchup. I think the Pelicans win. I got them by 7. You can put that motherfucking shit on wax. We go into Phoenix, and you can put Pellies and 7 on wax. On wax. Pellies and 7. Gonna shock the damn world. Why not roll with it, man? I said it at the beginning of the year. I'm sticking to it. I don't give a fuck. We rolling right now. Big fucking win for the Pelicans last night. Big fucking win as a fan. Finally. Finally. I know they were still, it's crazy because they were still 8 games under 500, to finish the season, but Man, that was this is one of the best like under 500 seasons you could have. It feels good to you, baby Bubba. This is for the keys and the G's, motherfucker. So bring on the Clippers. I like that matchup. We're gonna play them tough. They don't have Pat Bev over there. You saw what Pat Bev was doing. You watched that T-Wolves game. Hey, listen. I know everybody's hating on the T-Wolves for celebrating like they won the chip when they won the playoff game. What was it? Who did they play? I can't even remember who they played. I'm high as fuck, motherfuckers. Listen. I be baked like ZD right now. Baked like cupcakes. It is what it is. T-Wolves, got a win, started. So the Clippers, duh. They played the fucking Clippers. Pat Bev cracked his old team's ass, and he was fired up. I love Pat Bev. I understand how he gets under people's skin. I love that motherfucker. If you want to play against that motherfucker, you want to play with that motherfucker, both of them. Because this dude's going to bring out the best in you. I'll get down with the fucking dogs. I'll grind it out with the dogs. If you really got that dog in you, you want to play against a guy like Pat Bev. And this dude, you saw him make the plays at the end of the game. It was all Pat Bev. This dude, picking the dude's pocket at the end. That shit was slick. That was my move when I was on the courts. That's that little sneak in, that little touch as you give them that first step. They kind of feel like they think they're about ready to blow past you, and you just sneak it in there as they're going by. You reach in there and pop that ball out. That's a timing play. And he's slick. He's getting in your ass. He's fiery, and everybody's hating on these people for cheering and celebrating and being out there like a Phillies fan, like an Eagles fan eating horse shit, like your boy Moody was last night. But what the fuck, man? Look at the MLB. These assholes celebrate after every single win in the playoffs. They have a play-in game too. Play-in game. They have one too. They have like that one in the wild card game. Win and go home. These motherfuckers are out here popping bubblies with the goggles on, the full 9 yards, like they won the fucking championship every fucking year. And then they go to the divisional series, and then they win that, and they fucking celebrate again, and then they win the fucking conference finals or whatever it is. And they celebrate again because they're going to the World Series and they're fucking jerking off the fucking champagne bottles in each other's fucking faces, giving each other facials and shit. By the time they get to the World Series and win the World Series, they done already celebrated like 15 times. It's like, what are we doing? I'm like tired of this shit already. Who gives a fuck? You're all celebrated out by this time. So I don't know why the fuck you hating on the Timberwolves, a team that never gets to never gets any shine. That doesn't get to go to the playoffs every fucking year. I was cheering too. I was out here fucking doing flips. I was out here, putting, the triple champs, future quadruple champs, construction paper in the little shredder and throwing fucking confetti all over the goddamn place. I don't give a shit. I was making snow angels in that bitch in the middle of the living room. I don't give a fuck. Hate all you want. Hating on a man celebrating. Shit. You watch these MLB dudes do that shit every goddamn year. You see this shit in regular season games. These assholes hit a last second three to win the game and they're fucking, yeah. LeBron's up on the fucking little table, the scorer's table, going, yeah. You can't celebrate a play-in win game when you never get to make the playoffs? Get the fuck out of here. You suckers. You Buster ass onlys. Buster Douglas ass motherfuckers. Buster Posey, Dave and Buster ass motherfuckers. You don't want us to celebrate, then beat us. If you don't want us all up on your motherfucking scores table, Clippers, then fucking beat us on Friday. You ain't gonna beat us. Pelicans are gonna win that motherfucking game. We'll see you in Arizona. We're gonna get 2 more games at least in the blender. We're gonna get 2 more. You're gonna know about the motherfucking blender. Big game. Who's up? I get used to using my damn phone for this. We got Brooklyn tonight, I think. We got some big games. This is the good time of year. This is when you got NHL playoffs. I haven't been able to check it out yet. I know they just started, but usually this is, I'm not a huge NHL fan. I'm a Ducks fan, but I don't usually pay close attention to the NHL until playoffs. Playoff hockey is the shit. It's very hard to beat playoff hockey. That shit is dope. But you got playoff basketball, you got playoff hockey, and you got baseball starting up right now. So this is like the best time of year right after NFL. You have that first couple months where you're like, damn, you wish you had the NFL. And then there's going to be that little portion where after the NBA playoffs and after the NHL, it's just baseball for those last couple months until you get to the NFL. But we're in the good time right now. As internet, fuck it. Anyways, sick games. We got Jesus, this fucking app. Why is it showing me Friday's games? What about Thursday's fucking games? It is what it is. You guys know what the fuck's going on. So what else do we got going on? It is right. Look, so we got Cleveland versus Atlanta tomorrow. The Brooklyn doesn't play, but Brooklyn's already in the playoffs. And then you got New Orleans and the Clippers. So what else do we got? We got some fight night to get up into. We had UFC 273 last week. Crazy ass card, dope ass card. Damn, where to start on that shit? Chimaev versus Burns. How do you not start there? A lot of people talking about Chimaev got exposed and all this shit. Listen, I came on here and I said I had a feeling that he was going to walk through Burns, that Chimaev was going to walk through Burns. And a lot of people, to their credit, a lot of people were saying that some people were picking Burns. And I was like, man, I just don't see it. The size difference, especially when I saw in the weigh-ins. After I saw the weigh-ins, I was like, yeah, I think Burns is going to be in trouble. But Burns really good with the takedown defense, really good, not allowing Chimaev to get into the positions that he likes to score a lot of ground and pound, take the back, leg ride you into baby brother in you against the cage, and while he pounds on you with one arm. I told you Burns. The one thing he had, if it stayed standing, he had more than a puncher's chance. He's got hand speed for days, and he's got power. And it turned into a straight stand-up match for the most part. The knockdown at the end of the first round gave Chimaev that round. You see holes. The only thing that got exposed, I wouldn't even say exposed, is just that air of invincibility that Chimaev had, that I thought he had, that a lot of people thought he had. That's gone. Like if you're Kamaru Usman, you're like, who gives? I'm gonna beat that dude. If that was Kamaru Usman fighting Chimaev instead of Gilbert Burns last Saturday, Usman finishes him. And if Usman could force that type of fight, if Chimaev can't get Usman to the ground, which I don't think he can now after seeing this, it's over. He's not gonna stand and bang. You saw the difference in power. Does Chimaev have some power on his hand, on the feet? For sure. He one punch knocked out a dude a fucking weight class up. He hurt, Gilbert Burns multiple times in the fight. He's not the most technical dude. He gets sloppy with his right hand sometimes. When you get him in wild exchanges, you see him like slap sometimes. You see him like out of position when he can just stand in front of you and it's like he's reciting, choreographed, pre-programmed shit. He's good, but when you get him in a firefight, you can see him like start to slap and shit at times. So that was kind of, but he still has good hands. He still, can stand there and bang. He doesn't want to do that with Usman. He can't do that with Colby. Colby uses too much volume. You can see volume and speed. That's hard to deal with. And Chimaev isn't a slick striker to be able to, slip and counter and deal with a lot of pressure. He needs those takedowns. He needs the ground game. So after that fight, that is gone. But like, is he still a dope ass fighter? Hell yeah. He just came up and he fought, the number 2 dude, the guy who came the closest to beating Usman, who had Usman on a pair of fucking Heelys in the middle of the octagon. One real solid follow up away from probably stealing the belt. And it was a clear victory. I had 1 and 3. I went back and watched the fight a second time. 1 and 3 were clearly for Chimaev, even though the third round was still competitive. He had him rocked. He had Burns hurt a little bit at the in the middle of that round. I think the striking, numbers were like I think 1 more for Burns or something like that. But he did win that round. But the second round was all him. If there's 15, 20 seconds left in that round. I don't think Gilbert, gets, and he can pop right back up and get back to his feet. That oh shit takedown that Chimaev got after he got rocked with that right hand. Look, he was rocked. He didn't go down immediately. It took Burns like pushing him off, and then he was kind of like went down to the ground and then dove for the legs. He was in a lot of trouble right there. He was definitely in a lot of trouble. That was, Gilbert Burns' best punch right there. The same one he landed on Usman. So, he's got the power, but you see the difference in power. You see what, after Usman got hurt in that first round, from that point on, he took over. He started melting Gilbert Burns with his jab from southpaw. The right hand is his shit. Whether it's southpaw or orthodox, he started melting Burns. Chimaev couldn't do that. Even with all the strikes he was landing throughout the fight, Usman just hits different. I mean, it was over in the second round. He finished Burns in the second round. You see the dog that Gilbert Burns is? This is, MMA math and all this, but there's still something to be taken away when you watch fighters fight common opponents and you see what they're able to do with, against similar opponents, the same opponent. And it showed you the difference between Usman and Chimaev. So I thought, going into this, I ain't gonna lie. I said I thought that if Chimaev runs through Burns, then I think he's gonna win the chip in his next fight. He didn't do that. He definitely didn't do that. But exposed, no, he still has the motherfucking dog in him. But he ain't beating Usman. Not right now, and I don't think he beats Colby. He's not gonna take Colby down. He's not going to take Usman down, at least not consistently. He didn't take Burns down consistently. But he didn't really do much with the little, takedowns against the fence. He wasn't able to really control and really gain that top position where he can go to work with some ground and pound and look for some submissions, look for the back, mount, stuff like that. He couldn't do that. But not exposed. If anything, you wanted to see if he has that dog in him. He has that dog in him. That's probably the first time he's ever been challenged in his entire fucking life. And there's something when you just walk through everybody, every fight you go through, now you're starting to think that you're just like this fucking, this deity, this all-being entity that you are. You're like a god fucking figure, on some Kanye West shit rolling up there. Can't tell me nothing. And then all of a sudden, boom, you run into some resistance and you can't suddenly do what you've been doing your whole fucking life to people. A lot of people break. That's where you see people go, and all of a sudden their whole world is crumbles in front of them, and everything they ever thought was a lie, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all that shit just comes, it's over. Nah, this dude pushed through all that. He had the dog in him. He did want to win. He was bloodied, he was battered, he was hurt, and he still kept going, and he won the third round against the top dude in the division. So, what does it say for him going back up to middleweight? That'll be I'd like to see how big he gets again. I don't really remember him on a fight week. At middleweight. It's been a little while now. We'll see. Could he beat a guy like Adesanya? I still think he can, because I don't know that Adesanya can stay on his feet like that against a wrestler. Usman and Colby can, and Burns can, because that's their shit. Their base is grappling, grappling. So it's going to be harder to get them down consistently than it is like a guy like Adesanya. But pump the brakes on that shit. He's got plenty of work to do at welterweight. If he fights, the fight, what's next for him? Colby fight. If Colby doesn't want to fight, or that fight doesn't line up for whatever reason, the winner of this weekend, Luque versus Muhammad. That's a hell of a fight. Maybe you pump the brakes a tad bit, and give him that win. I mean, that's still a top contender right there. Both of those guys, because I think right now they basically have Leon Edwards fighting Usman next, so that's done. So Colby needs an opponent if he's going to fight anytime soon. Chimaev's that dude. If that fight doesn't happen, then I give Luque versus Muhammad, whoever wins this fight. That makes a lot of sense, this weekend's fight. Especially if you get something like Muhammad versus Chimaev. A fucking great wrestler in Muhammad. You saw the takedown defense masterclass that he put on against Damian Maia a couple fights ago. Yeah, I mean, that's a great fight. That's a great matchup. That's a good fight. on the feet's Bilal's kind of sneaky good on the feet. Don't sleep on Bilal Muhammad. We're going to get into that shit in a minute. But you're not going to bully him on the ground. Luque, if Luque wins, he won the first fight against Bilal, won it in about a minute. I think it was big left hook, dropped Bilal just got caught. It was one of those fights where you just got caught. You can't take a whole lot away from that fight. But Luque takes a lot of damage. That's another, fight that you can use to build up Chimaev, because that's a dangerous dude. He's 14-2 since 2015. His only losses come to Leon Edwards and Wonder Boy. And he's beaten everybody else. You had Chiesa get him down on the ground in his last fight, get into some dominant positions, not be able to finish, and then get choked out instantly by him. I think he's got like 8 now career submissions. Luque, he's a sleeper on the fucking mat too. He's deadly on the feet. He can take a lot of damage. He's very hittable, but on the feet, you don't want to crack with that dude. I don't know that Chimaev wants to crack with that dude. You don't want to eat that left hook. Luque's got that sneaky ass power. He melts dudes. He's got mad wins. So that's another legit opponent that you can use. That's like, Chimaev should beat him, but it's a good fucking test at the same time before you give him another fucking super banger. So I think that would actually be best for him, but who knows? Jan versus Sterling. How did I have that shit fight? I had it a draw. Scoring it live. And I haven't gone back and watched the first round, but I've watched a lot of people talk about the first round, and a lot of people said Sterling won it. When I was scoring it live, not a lot happened in that round. So to have it one way or the other is not, it's not some fucking controversy. I mean, it was super close. It's, do you award more points for this? Do you award more points for volume and forward pressure? The bigger power shots. I mean, it kind of comes down to like a philosophy and how you score your fights. Scoring it live. We're going scoring it live. I gave rounds 1, 4, and 5 to Jan. But I gave the second round. How's that not a 10-8 round? And then if you say, well, if the second round's a 10-8, then the third one's got to be a 10-8. Now the difference was in the second round, he had Jan flattened out. I think multiple times. He was really attacking with chokes. There was periods where he was landing some good hammer, back ground and pound from the back. He was just more dominant with the position. He was more assertive with the back mount position than he was in the third round. In the third round, I don't remember him ever really, threatening with anything that looked like, oh shit. I thought Jan was about to be finished in that second round. Just watching it, I was like, he's going to get his neck snatched. And that's what I told you Sterling had to do. He had to do exactly what he did against Sandhagen. He had to force like a wild scramble, force a wild exchange where he can, shoot. You saw Jan stuff the takedown, but then stumble out of it, and as he's pulling away, expose his back multiple times. His corner was even telling him in between rounds, don't turn your fucking back when you're running out, when you're getting out of these. And what does he do? He turns around, gives up his back right after he just spent almost the entire round in the second round, back mounted. But I said, Sterling has to create one of those exchanges where he can try to get the back real quick and attack the neck. And he did it twice. He did it in the second and the third round, and he dominated those rounds. The third round wasn't a 10-8. He never flattened him out. He never, really even threatened with a choke. Ground and pound wasn't the same. It was almost like, okay, now I'm just going to kind of ride this position out, make sure I win this round. I'm pretty sure he's thinking, I could probably do this again in the fourth round too. Listen, you don't have to. Listen, there's different modes. There's different ways to approach these fights. A lot of the fan thing is like go for the kill and get the win and try to be exciting, and this is entertainment also. I get that. You ain't lying. If you want to be a big star and you want to make those fucking millions, you want those big ass cards and you want to talk that shit about I want more money and all that shit, then that's what you need to do. You need to put on those kind of performances. Or you can just get wins. Just win, baby. Al Davis shit. Just win. And he had to just win. This is one of those fights where he has to think, play this safe. This dude, how good Jan is. So if I can steal these rounds, I have to play this as, like a point type style match. I have to slow play this. I have to, hold these positions, and you have to play small ball. It's like laying down a bunt to move the runner. Sterling had to play small ball. He wasn't going to beat Jan with the long ball. He tried that. The thing that you have to give Sterling a ton of credit for is that he changed up the game plan. And I thought, is he going to come out? I thought, he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't with the output that he came with in the first round in the first fight. But this time around, he slow played it. He just came out there. He just circled. He put on the yellow jersey, got on his bike, and started fucking taking laps around the cage, moving back and forth, popping, sticking and popping, trying the shots. And you can say he controlled the round, or he had the more volume, and you could say he might have won that round, but that was a different approach to the fight, and it worked for him because he wasn't gassed out. He wasn't gassed out by the third round, getting tripped and thrown all over the cage because he just can't get out of the way. He can't avoid anything. So it was a good approach by him, and he did what he had to do to win. I'll tell you this. I had it a draw, so I had a 10-8 round in the second, and then he wins the third round, Sterling. So that's basically 3 rounds for him and 3 rounds for fucking Peter Yan. So I had it a draw. I thought there was a good chance that a draw was in play, but I don't think you can make a case for Jan winning. If somebody had to win, it was probably going to be Sterling, because Jan fought a terrible fight, homies. I mean, that shit was, it was just, the first round, he's going in there trying to knock his head off. That wasn't Peter Yan. Peter Yan comes in there, starts working that jab, starts working that lead hand. He's changing levels with the lead hand. He's digging the body, coming back to the head, jab, hook. He's a good lead hand, same hand combination striker. He's double, triple the jab, working his way into the pocket, taking his time, setting up his right hand over the top after going to to the body a lot. He was just chasing and jumping into strikes and off balance, leaving himself open for takedowns, and then he was overreacting to the takedowns. You got to show urgency, and then there's panic. This motherfucker was coming out panicking, throwing himself out of these takedowns, pulling his legs out and then turning his back each time, like almost trying to run away and giving up his back each time. I thought he dominated most of the wrestling portions in the first fight. I didn't think he had to do that, so maybe that was an overreaction to the second round because he realized, damn it, I can't let that happen again. And he just let that happen again. So he was all over the place, even in the fourth and fifth round. Maybe he thought he won the first round. He was trying to get those, made sure he won those. I think he had to go into the fourth and fifth round trying to finish him. But that was the time to start leaping into punches. He should have slow played it. He should, he let the emotions and everything get into him. I don't think at any point he was really effective with anything that I was like, he's going to end this fight or he ever had a chance. After the third round, I was like, Peter Yan's, chances are he's going to lose this fight, because at that time, even though I gave him the first round, I had a 10-8 in the second and, the third round to Yan. So he's up 2 rounds already. It was 3 rounds already. No, he's up 2 rounds because he won 1. It was a bad fight for Yan. It was a bad, ugly fight for Yan. He's got to get back on the horse. I like the TJ fight next. Don't do another rematch. It's okay. I know it was close and all this shit. You don't have to just start giving immediate rematches every single time. So your homie, Peter Yan gets it. Listen, he fucked up. Now he's got to fight his way back. And no doubt he's going to be in the mix. There's no doubt. You give him somebody, he gets 1 win, he's right back in the mix. He already fought Aldo. I know Aldo's trying to get in the title mix, but I think TJ gets that. Who knows what's next for Yan, but I think you do the TJ fight. I think you do TJ versus Aljo. That's a great fight. And then we had the main event. That was just a fucking standing ass, cheek clapping. Pretty much what I thought. I thought the zombie would be able to last to the end. He's just a tough guy. But a late finish, if you played that, that was a smart way to go. He was just way too much. And I told y'all, he took the easy route. Volkanovski, I knew it when he called him out. When he tweeted that he wanted to fight the zombie next a couple months ago. It's like, the fuck is this? What are you talking about? You have Yair, and nobody's mentioning Yair Rodriguez. They're talking about Josh Emmett, should have been, in consideration, or is in consideration now even for the next title shot. And it's like, even Calvin Kattar, I was like, Yair, This motherfucker just went to war with Max. I don't care that he lost. Once Max fell out of that fight, I thought Yair was the guy to go to. And there's a reason why Volkanovski wasn't calling out Yair. That dude's dangerous. That dude's super dangerous. His style is not like anything he's fought before. I mean, he's got the hands, he's got the, taekwondo kicks, karate kicks, kickboxing kick. He's got a crazy style. You saw Max struggle with it at times in that fight. So I thought that was, in play. I would have even liked a rematch with Brian Ortega before this shit. I didn't think, beating Dan Ige and the way he beat Dan Ige, playing it safe, and the fight before that, getting boxed up, by Brian Ortega. I didn't think he deserved a title shot for that. And he just hasn't looked like the Korean Zombie since that Ortega fight. He didn't even look like the Korean Zombie in the Ortega fight. He was flat-footed. There was no movement at all. There was no slipping and countering. That was Zombie's bread and butter. Slips and counters. Nice, being elusive slightly in the pocket. Real subtle head movement and footwork and counters. He didn't have any of that anymore. He's just standing. You could see him hitting pads. He looked like Ronda Rousey hitting pads back in the day. Remember Ronda Rousey? She used to just do the same little combo every time and not move her hips or anything. It was just like arm punching and it's just fast combo. Every time you saw her hitting pads, it was the exact same shit. Or shadow boxing, she's just throwing the same punches. I was seeing when I was watching the countdown, I was watching other shit where they were showing Zombie training. I mean, he's hitting pads like that. Now, there are times when you hit pads where you're just standing there working hand speed. I get that. But there's you got to work on the footwork too. You got to chop those feet up like you're shoe shining and shit. You got to work on the movements. You got to do all this stuff. I've seen him hit mad pads and he's just standing right there stationary. Each time, when the cameras were off, he was doing something different, but he fought like I saw him hitting pads, so it is what it is. Got smoked. What's next for him? I like the Henry Cejudo fight. Listen, Max is next, right? So let's say something happens again that Max fight doesn't. That has to happen. That's the next fight, right? Let's get outside of the Max box. What would happen? I'd like to see the Cejudo fight. Give this dude the actual triple. He don't have the triple. This is the future triple champ over here. The real triple champ. Triple champ isn't Olympic medal and 2 UFC titles. The triple champ is 3 UFC titles. Give him the chance to become the real triple champ. I think that's a good fight. I think Volkanovski going to be too much, too big, too fast, too strong for him at that weight class. I think that's, there's levels to where, your size you can get away with, and then you make that one little step and it's not going to work for you anymore. And I think that's it, for Cejudo. But it's an interesting fight. I'd like to see Cejudo fight before that, in all reality. And if not that, 155, go up to 155. For Volkanovski, I don't know that he fights right away. That's a weird thing, Makhachev is next, right? Makhachev is next for that title shot after Gaethje versus, is that this month? It's like the next pay-per-view, I think. Gaethje versus Oliveira. That Makhachev has to fight for that. So maybe you could give Volkanovski a real good test up there. Any of those top 5 guys. Imagine Michael Chandler. I know he's fighting Tony next, but Michael Chandler versus Volkanovski. That's sick. And he could still hold on to his title maybe and still go down and defend. And who knows, But next 145er has got to be Max. If not, Cater did have that. It would be a unique shot for him. Had a big win against Giga. That was an impressive win too. Or Yair. Maybe Yair fights Cater, and then you have that lined up. I don't know. We'll see. But dope card nonetheless. Let's put the picks on wax right now. Who do we got? We got Luque versus Muhammad. I've gone back and forth on this one, man. I think I've come to the conclusion you can't look at that first fight. You can't take much away from it. It was one of those times where it was a 1 minute knockout. Muhammad got caught clean, went down, fight's over, right? That was 2016, so we're talking about 6 years ago. Both of them have gotten better, in my opinion, especially Muhammad. I think he's developed his wrestling more. He committing to it more. I've seen stints where his striking has got a lot better too. You don't always see it in every fight, but there's some real impressive fights. Diego Lima fight where he showed off his hands a lot. shoe shine in the body lock, coming back to the head, was elusive with the head movement. He throws at odd angles, Belal Muhammad. He'll hit you with some awkward shit. But the thing about Muhammad that you have to pay attention to, that he has to pay attention to, he's always slipping to his right side. He's always slipping to his right side. Always slipping to his right side. You're going to hit that hook. You can get that hook again. You can get that Luque hook. You can get kicked in your head. You can get kneed in your head. If you always slip into the same side, always slip into the same side, especially when it's slip to the same side and then pop straight back. Slip and pop straight back. Now, if you're slipping and rolling back, slipping, rolling back, and it just starts there, that's one thing, or you're bobbing, coming here and then bobbing here. If you're just here every time, Muhammad gets into that. He falls into that sometimes with his striking. And you saw Leon Edwards with the high kicks coming. I think he keyed in on that. That would have been an interesting fight if that could have gone the duration. I know Leon was getting the better of him, and it looked like it was going bad for Belal because Leon's just too fast for him. And I don't think Belal was going to have very much success with his wrestling. So it was going to be a stand-up fight, but it would have been interesting to see how that fight ended up in its entirety. But I mean, MMA math. I know, don't do it. Luque. His only loss in his last, few fights was to Wonder Boy, and Muhammad just dominated Wonder Boy. Different styles, of course. When Luque fought Wonder Boy, he had to fight Wonder Boy at Wonder Boy's strengths on the feet. When Muhammad fought Wonder Boy, he had the ability to fight Wonder Boy to his weaknesses, which is his ground game and his wrestling, especially his wrestling defense, as we saw. But there's levels to it because Wonder Boy is tough to take down. He's actually got underrated takedown defense. He's used to people trying to take him down. And he had some good success, stuff in some of the takedowns, but you see it, Muhammad was just grind those and keep on. He's not going to give up. You saw, if you ever saw, there was an interview with Khabib after, I think it was the second time, right before the third fight with Stipe. And Khabib he said, well, like, what advice do you have for, Cormier, going into this fight? And he said, wrestle. If he was Cormier, he would just go in there and keep dumping Stipe, keep dumping him. Even if Stipe got back up, he'd still keep taking him down, That's what he should have done, right? Just keep taking him down. That's what Muhammad does. He's going to keep grinding you. He's going to hang on you. He's going to drag you to the mat. You're going to get back up. If he can turn this into this grinding game as the underdog, I like Belal. I think, on the feet, Luque's, he gets hurt. You saw him against Woodley a couple fights ago, rocked in that first round. And Woodley's got a piston. You didn't see it, obviously, at all in his boxing match, both of them, when he got deaded against the Luke, whatever the fuck their names are. But, he's hurt in a lot of his fights. Brian Barberena fight. Go watch that fight. Brian Barberena was like 10 seconds away from winning that fight against Luque. And then Luque knocked him out, I think, with like a knee or something in the last like 5 seconds. The Paul brothers, I'm fucking trying to remember. I actually like the Paul brothers, so I ain't a hater of the Paul brothers. I like Jake and Logan. Let them do what they're gonna do. Bring them over to UFC. Let them fight some of these dudes. I'm all for all that shit. But you didn't see that Woodley right hand against Jake Paul. But he had Luque hurt with that shit in the first round of their fight. That was Woodley's last MMA fight. So, Luque takes a lot of damage in fights. I don't know if Belal can have that success on the feet to where he's going to hurt Luque, but good enough to set up his takedowns. I went back and forth on this. I think it's only a matter of time till Luque catches him because Luque's got an underrated ground game. Very underrated ground game. Now, granted, Chiesa got kind of overzealous and kind of fucked himself out of position and gave up... his submissions, his back position, and ended up getting choked out himself. But Luque's got those submissions, especially the head and arm chokes, the Darces, Anacondas, Bravo, whatever you want to call it, guillotines, stuff like that. He's slick with the submissions. He's not going to sub Muhammad. I think Muhammad, when he gets on top of you, a different ball game. So it's going to be a slow play. Listen, if this fight ends in a finish, if you're looking for, you got to put it on a Luque finish. I don't think Maybe late Muhammad, if he grinds it, he can find the neck late, late 5th round type of thing. But if this is finished, it's probably going to be a Luque finish. If you go Bilal Muhammad, I think you'd have to count on Bilal Muhammad, dominating for 25 minutes, which is always tough because when you have a fighter that has to win over 25 minutes versus a guy who could win maybe at any time, it's a toss-up. But you always got to favor the guy who can dictate where the fight goes. You hear Rogan and all these guys talk about it. They're right. What's the most dominant thing you could have in MMA is wrestling. You get to decide where the fucking fight goes. Doesn't matter if this dude is Bruce Lee, whatever the fuck he is over here. If you just take him down, he ain't no Bruce Lee no more. He ain't 1-inch punching you and shit from the bottom. He ain't doing that shit. So I'm going to go with Muhammad. Decision. I've gone back and forth. Originally, I said Luque TKO, maybe round 3-ish, but now I'm thinking, I think Muhammad can grind him. I think he can drag him. And then you got him at plus 155, definitely that. Maybe you go, who knows what kind of odds you can get on a late finish for Bilal Muhammad. Maybe that's something. But you need like an early finish for Luque. And I say early, I say around 3rd round-ish, before the 3rd round. If it gets into 4 or 5, it's probably going to be all Bilal Muhammad with his wrestling at that point. Chao Barallo versus Omar Gadziev. 2 dudes debuting are now the co-main event. I forget who it was. I think it was Ryan. Who was it? I can't remember who the main card was. It fell through. But these 2 dudes are dudes that fought on the Contender Series. Gotzi is like, if you remember Bruno Silva, who just fought Alex Pereira, if you've seen him before he got into the UFC, or you see his earlier fights when he gets guys to the ground, he's got this type of ground game. Ground and pound like a motherfucker. Donkey Kong, ground and pound. You've seen some of it in the UFC with Bruno Silva. This guy's a lot like Bruno Silva. Striking isn't great. It's sloppy. Big-ass overhands, big-ass power punches. You don't want to get caught by him, that's for sure. But he likes to just come in waiting with some big-ass bombs, get you up against the cage, get you moving backwards, get you up against the cage, drag you down, trip you, and beat on you from the top position. He's heavy from the top position. Just from what little I've seen of him, he's got the dominant wrestling, he's got the dominant ground, and he's a ground and pounder. He's not just a position over submission type of dude. He's a ground and pound over position type of dude. And he'll get a hold of your neck. Chao Barallo's kind of like a Kirkland brand Lyoto Machida. That he's got that karate style, kind of in-out style. He's got good side kicks. He got a nasty, I think he's a southpaw. He's got a nasty round kick with the left leg. Nasty round kick, game changer. Decent hands. He's a good striker. I think this is a tough matchup for him. I think this is a good dude that you could build up. I think you would have wanted to give him another striker and try to put this guy on display a little bit. So it's kind of a weird matchup for him that you'd give a guy that can ground him like that. If he stays on the feet, this dude. What I'll say about Chao Barallo is he's got this counter left flying knee. He likes to slide back in the pocket as he gets pressured and throw a flying knee off his rear leg. It's nasty. He times it really well. So you got a guy that's trying to level change all the time. That's going to play a big factor. He throws it a lot. So it's not just like a one and done type of thing. It's something he looks for a lot. And he's also got a nasty check hook. When people are coming in, that check hook on their way in, the thing about that check hook is when you're fighting a guy with a check hook is it looks like it's open. Like you're going to get, and then boom, you're getting caught on your way in when you're not expecting to get hit. Those are game changers. And it doesn't got to be a load up. It's just nice and short. You just want to touch them on the chin as they walk in. Just a little bing bong, right on the little chin. And so he's got 2 weapons that are gonna play well for him. He's you got to start using the up the middle kicks, the knees. Against a guy who's looking to level change, you got to attack the body a lot. I just think Gotzi with the take again, a guy who can take the fight to the ground. I think Gotzi's going to be able to do that. I don't think they have the odds on that. I can't remember what the odds were. I know Gotzi's a favorite though. I'm going to take Gotzi. I'll take like TKO, maybe choke. Let's go TKO round 2. Miguel Beza versus Andre Fialho. Andre Fialho, he fought. Who did he fight? He fought Michel Pereira I think on short notice in his debut a couple months ago. Good fighter. He reminds me a little bit of Shogun. He's got some Shogun Hua in him. He's, a Brazilian fighter. He's got the same stature, the same hooks, the same nice short little hooks. He just doesn't have the same uber aggression that Shogun has. He's just a smaller version of Shogun. He can put your lights out. He's got nice, tight, technical, boxing. I think he suffers from not attacking enough output. A lot of these guys, they just don't attack enough. There's too much dead air in between their exchanges. And that's going to be a big factor for him against Miguel Beza, because Miguel Beza is another low output striker. Likes to throw a lot of leg kicks, which also you live and you die by the motherfucking leg kicks. Can't live with them, can't live without them. Beza throws a lot of naked leg kicks. And against Chaos Williams, I sat on here on this podcast, I said, Chaos Williams will knock you the fuck out like he did against, I'm terrible with fucking names. Abdul Razak, Al Hassan. Remember when he fought him? That's the name. Al Hassan, when he fought Chaos Williams, right off the bat, threw a naked leg kick. What did Chaos do? Right hand, right down the pipe. Got to the third round. Granted, motherfucker, Chaos Williams' lead leg was destroyed. It was hanging on by a vein. This shit was destroyed. Beza was attacking it the entire fight. But he timed one. He finally sat on one, put him down with the right hand. It was a wrap. And that's what's, that's always a danger when you have a guy that throws a lot of naked leg kicks. Beza would be so much more effective if he just put some hands in front of it. Just basic combinations. Day one, Groupon, walk in, get your free class. They teach you a fucking, jab, right kick, left hook, right kick, right hand, left kick, basic, opposite. Finish with the opposite kick of the hand that you finish with, right? So I finished my right hand, I finished with my left leg, finished with my left hand, I finished with my right leg, basic combinations. Even if he does that jab in front of it and then get all that, get a reaction, even just a feint, anything to get a reaction here so you can attack down low. He gets away with it a lot because it's the low calf kick that he uses. And the low calf kick, you don't have to commit with your hips the same. It's when you're throwing that you have to get closer. You have to get slightly closer. So it's a close range strike when you attack the above the knee with a traditional leg kick. And you have to really turn your hips into it. So it's a longer, more drawn out movement. Whereas when you attack those, you can just sit back and just, from your knee as a hinge. You don't have to commit your hips at all. You can just touch that and just kick it and still remain at distance. You can kick it from at distance. So, you're a little bit safer that way, throwing the low calf kick. But eventually, if you keep going to the well too many times, that's where Andre Fialho is going to have his chance. He's going to, take those leg kicks and make them counter with combinations, not just one punch. Right hand, left hook, right hand. Put some, get Beza moving backwards. I think Baeza's got to get some takedowns. I think in the end, he's going to get a takedown or two that's going to change this fight. This fight's going to be close, man. Plus 155 for Andre Fialho. That's a good look if you're looking for a dog right there. I'm going to go Baeza on a 2-fight losing streak. You don't want that dreaded UFC, 3-fight losing streak. Not that he'll get cut or anything. He's still got a lot of promise. He started 10-0 in his career. You don't want to go to 10-3 now. So I'm going to pick him to eke out a decision. But if you're looking for a dog, Fialho's going to be right there. He's going to be in that fight to the end. I guarantee you. I don't know that it's going to finish. I'll say decision. I'm going to say a takedown or two is going to be the difference in that fight. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Wu Yanin. Mayra Bueno Silva decision. Pat Sabatini versus TJ Laramie. Listen, these are some little dudes. This is like watching your lawn gnomes fight out in the front yard in the middle of the fucking night. These motherfuckers get free meals from Denny's. They come over with those little maze placemats and a 3-pack of crowns for these motherfuckers while they wait for their little smiley face pancakes. That's these little ass dudes. But Pat Sabatini, don't get me wrong. This motherfucker. He's a monster on the mat. This dude's a grappling fucking Gandalf. This dude's Harry Potter with that shit. He's a wizard. He's slick. He got his ass fucking cracked against Jamal Emmers in that first round, and then Jamal Emmers made the most boneheaded fucking Bill Buckner play at first I've ever seen. Sitting there in this dude's guard, and playing with the ankle lock and just sitting there like it was no big deal, and then he got tapped. That's the thing about the ankle locks. You know, the heel hook. You're fine 1 second. What the fuck is this guy doing? And next thing you're out for 12 months. Pat Sabatini's a fucking grappling specialist. Great chokes. You know, great all around submissions. He's got a heel hook submission. TJ Laramie's just, you know, he lost his debut in like under a minute to Derek Minner. He got choked out, guillotine choke. Laramie's like an old school little ground and pounder, old school Mark Coleman sitting the guard. Tito Ortiz never tried to pass the guard and just sits there and blasts on you. That's what TJ Laramie is. He's another wrestler striker dude, wants to get the fight to the ground. He's just gonna be outgunned here. I mean, this is weird that you know Pat Sabatini is fighting a guy. I think he walks through him. I'll say second round, a rear naked choke, Pat Sabatini. Munir Lazez was supposed to fight Elizu Dos Santos. That would have been a fucking banger. But something happened with Dos Santos, and he's out of that fight. Munir Lazez is a beast. A couple nasty head kick knockouts on his highlight reel if you've seen him. Nasty with the standing knees. This dude throws knees like you'll never see. He throws them in many different ways, straight up, to the side, pushing, like a stabbing knee to keep distance. I mean, he throws these knees are nasty. His hands are nasty. The problem with him, terrible slow starter. I mean, you gotta fucking get this motherfucker rolling downhill and kick the clutch to get him started in that first round. He takes beatings. In his first 2 UFC fights, he took beatings in the first round. Almost out on his feet, and then I think he did get stopped. It was in the first round or the second round against Warley Alves in his last fight. He got blasted with like a 4-pack of fucking kicks to the liver, and no way that man didn't, brown his chonies like medium-low heat. I mean, he browned those motherfucking chonies, nice and crispy, getting kicked in the liver that many times, medium-low heat style. Got blasted out of there, got overwhelmed. You can overwhelm him with volume, you can overwhelm him with power. This dude, Angelusa, who's stepping in for Elizu Dos Santos since like yesterday or the day before on like 4 or 5 days notice. Real vanilla striker, straight lines, powerful hooks, not very good defensively. Tailor-made for, Munez goes from a guy in Elizu Dos Santos who I thought was, a bad matchup for him. I was going to take Dos Santos in that fight to, a very favorable matchup. And, he's just got to stay out of the power. If I'm Lusa coming in on this, I saw him fight on the Contender Series against Jack Della Morena, whatever that guy's name is, pretty solid. He held his own at times, but he was outclassed, technically on the feet. But if I'm Lusa, I'm just coming out guns blazing. Fuck it. Throw all the chips into the fucking table in the first round and see what happens. That's what you got to do if you're Lusa. But I'm going Munir. I'll say TKO round 2. All right, let's speed this shit up. Let's get out of here. Prelims: Devin Clark versus William Knight. Complete toss-up. William Knight is on that Rosenstrike type of spectrum of not striking, of just standing around a lot. Could knock you out with any strike that he decides to throw, but he just doesn't like to throw a lot. So that's the only reason I'm going to take Devin Clark. And he can maybe relocate the fight. I'll take Devin Clark a decision. William Knight, if you want to put a little money at plus 150 on like a finish of some sort, maybe, but motherfucker just don't throw. Lena Landsberg versus Pannie Kianzad. I'm going Lena Landsberg. She's plus 310 now. They have her on here. They had Kianzad at minus 410. This is crazy. Lena Landsberg is a little gangster. She's got nasty little elbows. She can drag you to the ground. Nasty in the clinch. She used to be a highly touted person. When I saw her, I forgot all about her. I'll take her, just because Pannie Kianzad's never impressed me. She's a kind of a low output point striker. She's not going to knock you out. She's not going to overwhelm you in any way. She's just pretty, vanilla, technical striker that wants to outpoint you basically. I'll take Lena Landsberg at plus 310. They have her here. I think it's more like plus 250. If I've seen right, but whatever. If you can get her plus 310, yeah, I'm taking that. Give me Lena Landsberg decision. I'll take a dog like that. Drakkar Klose versus Brandon Jenkins. Drakkar Klose is a dog. You remember that fight with him against Beneil Dariush? That's the famous fight where Dariush comes back from almost getting knocked out to knock out Drakkar Klose and DC. Rogan and Anik are all like, oh, that's that famous one where they're all hanging on each other because their reaction to the knockout and shit. Drakkar Klose is a little dog, dude. He's been around for a while. It's been a while since he fought. Remember, he was supposed to fight Jeremy Stevens, and he got pushed at the weigh-ins and fucked up his back, and everybody was like, "Oh no!" Listen, if you get pushed in your chest hard and whiplash like that, and when you're not expecting it, I could see that happening. I fucking just sit down for 15 minutes and blow my back out. So I can imagine that this dude, got fucked up from that. He hasn't fought since. That was like early last year, maybe. It's been a while. It's been over a year, maybe a year since that happened. So good to see Drakkar Klose back in here. He's a dog. I'm going to take Drakkar Klose. I'll go TKO, maybe a submission. Let's go TKO round 2. Rafa Garcia versus Jesse Ronson. Don't know a lot about either one of these dudes. I've seen Rafa fight a couple times. Seen Ronson fight. Give me Rafa Garcia decision. Chris Barnett versus Martin Buday. Barnett is, Huggy Bear. Oh, do the flip, land on his ass, dude. The dude that landed the spinning wheel kick against Jean Vellante. This dude, Martin Buday, is I only saw like one of his fights and a couple highlights of him. His fight on the Contender Series. He's a monster. He gets you up against the clinch. In the Contender Series, he got his dude up against the clinch. Up against the cage in the clinch and just beat on him for like 3 minutes until it was just like the dude couldn't take anymore and just started crumbling. I mean, this dude just held him there. No matter what that dude did, he couldn't get off the cage. This dude's got that kind of ground and pound, grimy, style. Chris Barnett's going to be outgunned. Chris Barnett's just like a home run hitter that strikes out a lot. He needs the home run, or else he's not getting on base, and he's going to go 0 for 4. Unless he might go 1 for 5 with a home run, and then he wins the fight, that way. But I'm going to go Buday. I say rear naked choke round 2. Jordan Levitt versus Trey Ogden. Don't know a whole lot about Trey Ogden. Seen Levitt fight. He's got suffocating ground game, good submissions. Terrible on the feet. Did get out grappled in one of his fights against Puelles. Yeah, because Puelles is fighting Guida next week. Claudio Puelles dominated Jordan Levitt. So he can be out grappled. Trey Ogden, I don't know a whole lot about him. I know I watched one fight, but I can't even remember what he looked like. Give me Levitt. Give me decision. Estela Nunes versus Sam Hughes. Give me Estela Nunes decision. And Alatang Haley versus Kevin Croom. This is a grimy little fight. If you're looking for another dog, Kevin Croom's a good little dog. He can make ugly fights. Alatang Haley, he's a wrestler striker, big overhands, vanilla. I'll give it to him. He's got some good power, some good speed, can take the fight down, maybe. If he gets stuck in a boxing match, I'll get a little nervous. But give me Haley. Just power and strength might be a little too much for Kroom. Give me decision. There you have it. That's it, homies. That's it. I mean, I had a lot more. I have a lot more on the docket here, but, I've been yipping and yapping for an hour. Maybe I'll come back and just do some random shit next week, and we'll talk about, Elon Musk taking over Twitter. He just put out a tweet saying he's gonna try to buy all of Twitter. And, these soft little cupcake censoring, cheerleaders that love censorship, these little fucking neoliberals and shit that live in their little bubbles and want to be protected from, different ideologies and different thoughts and different viewpoints in the world, because once theirs are challenged, they crumble and realize that their whole belief system in life is built on fucking emotions and not logic and not facts. They're all scared right now, so we're gonna get into that. That's huge. We'll see what happens with that, with Elon Musk. And I ain't saying Elon Musk is this great entity. He's got his own issues. I get it. But of all the billionaires, at least there's shit like this. I know he doesn't pay his taxes too. I know he's got some fucking crazy ties to Russia too. Not Russia, to China. He's got his issues, I understand, but of all of the ones, I like this. I like this shakeup. We don't have to sit here and I like you and me, we don't have to sit here and hash out differences. We can come together on things that we have like ideas about, and we can bond over those things, and that's what we can choose to do. We can choose to focus on the things that we have in common, or we can choose to separate ourselves and build barriers between each other based on things we don't. And I think there's more things that you and I and everybody else have in common that can unite us against all the bullshit that's going on right now. I think I'm going to have the homie Bautista on next week. We're going to get into all this shit. We're going to get into some real shit. Hopefully we'll go into the Pelicans because we'll still be in the playoffs by then. But we'll get into a little, bro politics type shit. We'll, talk about what's going on in the world, the inflation and all the shit that's come out about the lab leak and the fucking jabs and all that shit. Shit's going crazy right now. So I'm going to have to dedicate like an hour and a half, 2-hour episode to that shit. So we'll get into that. We'll get into Elon. So be looking for that. Because next week's card is kind of soft. I ain't even going to lie to you. This shit is Lemos versus Andrade is the main event, which isn't bad. I like that. Lemos is a monster. Andrade is a monster, but the card is kind of fucking ugly. So we'll get through that shit, and then maybe we'll get into some deep shit and stimulate your motherfucking minds. But until then, I'm Seth Gecko, aka Moody Motherfucking Hank. This is Whiskey Sit Podcast number 156. This is the triple. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Come here, dude. Come on over here. Say goodbye to all the people. His hair is wilding out right now. We need to give him a haircut. Come here, dude. He's got the Blink 182 shirt. Say hi. There's the future quadruple champ. This is the dude we're looking at. You see how small this dude is? He's pushing 3.5. We're pushing, so we're looking at 125, 135, 145, 125, 135, 140. That might be it. I don't know if he's going to get up to 155. Maybe he's just a future triple champ. I'll take that. We got the women's future triple champ, 115, 125, 135, taking a nap right now. So we rolling. Don't worry about us. Worry about your motherfucking self. Bandana P, the Pelicans, rolling. NOLA, stand the fuck up. We rolling tomorrow. Until then, Seth Gecko, a.k.a. Moody Motherfucking Hank. And I'm out, motherfucker!